We are out here at a monopole, and we chose this location because this is where DroneLink shines most of the time. It's a wide open area, there's nothing in our flight path, no obstructions, no vegetation, no power lines coming in, nothing. No risk of flying over moving cars or people. So we can set DroneLink up and let it go and show you probably one of the coolest features about it, where we can change our camera settings as we're orbiting. If you have flown Telecom before, you know how annoying it is to stop every quarter orbit or every half orbit to have to adjust your settings with the sunlight on the tower and on the antennas. So now we're gonna run through an entire flight rather, with DroneLink, and then we'll get the data uploaded and show you what the 3D model looks like. All right. Before we begin our tower flight, we're going to position ourselves directly over the middle of the monopole itself. This is a little bit easier to do in the Pilot 2 app because we have the crosshairs. So once we're in position, we're actually going to back out of the Pilot 2 app and open up DroneLink. And once we've opened it up, we're going to click on this lightning bolt icon. And that's going to bring up our flight options. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and select the spiral option. That tells you fly around a point of interest in a spiral. And that's going to open up and ask us a series of questions to build our flight parameters. So the first thing we're going to do is mark our center point, and then we're going to hit the next button. And now we will transition out and set our highest altitude for where we want to start our capture. So a couple things to keep in mind. We want to be about 30 feet out, which you see right here. And we're also going to look at our elevation. We're at 220 feet, and we'll factor that in just a little bit. So now we want to change our gimbal angle to about 40 degrees. And once we've got that set, then we will go ahead and hit mark and next. Now we'll descend all the way down the tower to the altitude of our lowest orbit and where we want to end our flight. Alright, now that we have the base of the tower in, you can see our height is now at about 33 feet. So if we were to do some quick math, 220 feet was our highest altitude, minus 33 feet leaves 187 feet that we're going to be descending. And we'll use that in just a minute. So our next option is going to be, do we want to fly video or photos? We're going to select photos and hit next. Do you want to change the speed and rotations? Yes, we want to customize our flight options here. So we're going to select yes and then hit next. How fast do you want to fly? So our typical speed when we're 30 feet off is about 4 miles per hour. So we're going to switch from 5 to 4 and select and hit next. Now for rotation or which direction you want to fly, that's completely up to you. I prefer clockwise, so I'll just hit next. How many rotations around the center? So this is where we did our math. There's 187 feet. We want to do 10 feet per drop. So we're going to switch this to what would be 19. We'll just go ahead and round it up to 20. And we'll select and hit next. And we set our gimbal angle before we started, so we're already at 40 degrees, so we're going to select current pitch and hit next. You have the option to name this mission, whether you want it to be your site ID or whatever. You don't have to, you can just hit the next button. And this is going to show us our input summary of everything that we just went through and selected. So if everything looks right, we just hit continue. It's going to generate our flight route, and you can see here it's 11 minute 21 second flight. So now we'll just hit the play button, and it will automatically begin the flight. So one of the greatest things about DroneLink is the orbits, the flights, the photo capture, it's all autonomous. The one part that we can manually control is we can adjust our exposure settings, our ISO, our shutter speed, and our aperture. So here, as you can see, it's pretty well lit, but as we slide around to the backside, it's going to be dark. So we can make our camera adjustments without having to stop the flight. And this is the single greatest feature that DroneLink has when it comes to telecom inspections. So we can let this run autonomously. We can continue to adjust our settings, and within 11 minutes have a full tower capture and not have to deal with the frustrations of stopping every third of an orbit or every half an orbit and having to make camera setting adjustments. You'll also notice that unlike traditional methods of capture where you do a full orbit at the same altitude and then descend 10 feet, complete another orbit, descend 10 feet, and so on, this actually has a spiral feature where each time we come around to where we started, we have descended about 10 feet in elevation. So if you see here, this is about our starting point, and we are at 201 feet or 200 feet. So as we get back around, the next time we should be somewhere around 191 or 190 feet. And so another really cool feature, it helps when stitching together a 3D model. I think it has a lot of benefits over the traditional capture method. So this is where I think DroneLink really stands out in telecom infrastructure capture. Works great with monopoles and self-support towers. So here we are back at the beginning, and we're at our 191 feet. So I'm going to let this continue on and just let it play out at normal speed so you can see the lighting adjustments. If you want to skip through this part to the end, as soon as we finish the flight, then I'll go ahead and bring up the 3D model and just take a look at how everything turned out. All right, and we are coming around for the last part of our orbit here. You can see the countdown at 2, 1, and it gives us a big congratulations, mission accomplished. So now that we have completed a full flight capture, we'll get the data uploaded, and let's take a look at that 3D model and see how we did. Alright, so here's the 3D model that was generated from our flight. As you can see, it looks really good. Very happy with the total outcome here. If we zoom in a little bit, you'll be able to see that each rad or each set of antennas has a lot of detail to it. It's very clean looking. And then there's no holes or missing elements of the tower, which can often happen, especially if too much of our capture is overexposed. So you can see even the antennas, the rads here in the middle of the tower look really good, really clean, a lot of detailed information. For this, we did just use the tower flight. We didn't use a compound flight, so you might see it cut off a little bit. But all in all, really impressed with the total outcome, and I think now we're ready to upload and deliver this to our client.